Start of the punk explosion in Britain in the mid-70s, Wire quickly differentiated themselves from the pack. Snub somehow managed the rare feat of marshalling all 4 members of Wire together to reflect on their past and present and preview their new single.
The motivation to begin with was just to form something which played once for you know, the classic art school party thing, and it didn't work very well, but there was a seed had been sown that actually was possible, and perhaps an interesting thing to do.
It wasn't Wire, though.
It wasn't.
No,
It wasn't to do with
pre-Wire.
it sort of formalised itself in a very slow way, with no intention of actually playing in public, really, like, you know, most things. I think, and even when it had formalised into a Wire, a version of Wire, we still didn't really have that intention that we would make records and do concerts until it became obvious that we ought to. One day we just said, well, perhaps we should show this to people.
At the beginning, it was, I think, the kind of pre-Wire period, the kind of the seeds were very much about three rhythm guitars and singing, and it was very, very kind of chaotic, kind of very aggressive. In the post-George period, there was this sudden honing down into something which may not have been about musicianship, but it was razor sharp, and it wasn't punk rock. All of a sudden, it had a kind of darker quality, and it also had a quality of pastiche. It's always been intuitive. Yeah. It's always been like that. There's always been that slightly
I think
humorous edge to it as well. It is quite funny the way it's developed. But I mean, there was one thing interesting happened when we heard Pink Flag. When we actually heard it when it was recorded, we suddenly realised that we've made something. And then we also realised that we didn't need to make that one again. And that was a fantastic liberation. You know, we all flew off in different directions, but it was a great moment of a sudden realisation that we'd actually done it. We'd done something, and it was different.
I think your perception changed as well when we actually did play in front of people. What seemed to be ideal at the time was thrash, thrash, thrash for 3 minutes. People could get up a large amount of steam pogoing, when in actual fact, because of the arrangements that we had, things stopped after 20 seconds, which was a perfectly natural arrangement for us, but this wasn't altogether appreciated.
They would be caught in mid-poke.
You f***ing bastards, what do you think you're doing, you know?
Because a lot of your songs actually seem to be about things like the sort of degeneration or the degeneracy of mass culture.
I think one can't help but notice it, and it's bound to leak through in the writing in a very natural way, rather than actually saying I'm going to write about. Whenever you start looking at something which is even optimistic, you suddenly, the deeper one thinks about it, or the more you plug into the subject, even in a unconscious way, not researching it as such. The darker side of it tends to be more important than the optimistic side.
Strikers like bitchbacks, eat tip slides. Dress pints, demon shrinks, bread drunk, dead drinks. Stretch clubs, models, bikes, draw skin, black sharks. Money spines, Babylon, kidnapping goes on fire.
Everything is in there. There's all that kind of comment. You know, Kidney Bingos is a piece of social commentary. It's social commentary much more like a documentary than a piece of banner waving.
I think we still retain an innocence which might or might not have been present pre-1980. I think we still approach the work in a very open and innocent way. I'm not sure whether that's to do with us as personalities, individual personalities, or it's because it's the way that Wire works. You know, we have to, in other ways, empty our pockets before we start thinking about being an ensemble.
The buzz in the ear is something which annoys you. I mean, I wish, you know, I was just trying to focus on this, but they won't stop that noise, you know. I mean, the noise can also refer to music. I wish they'd stop doing it, for Christ's sake. They just turn it off.
Switch in the start, but you switch anyway. This is the night, here in the day. One thing remains perfectly clear. It's a buzz, buzz, buzz in the drum of the ear. See, 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 sound, sound. Buzz, 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 buzz in the eardrum. See, 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 sound, sound. Buzz, 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 buzz in the eardrum. Now you live in the world of the wave, and you scratch your names on the walls of the cave. Instincts never leave you perfectly clear. There's always a buzz, buzz, buzz in the drum of the ear. See, see, sound, sound. Buzz, 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 buzz in the eardrum. See, 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 sound, sound. Buzz, 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 buzz in the eardrum. Marco Polo has lost his way. Louisville Lip has nothing to say. One thing remains perfectly clear. The buzz, buzz, buzz in the drum of the ear. See, 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 sound, sound. Buzz, 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 buzz in the eardrum. See, 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 sound, sound. Buzz, 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 buzz in the eardrum. Turns out very nice. Hannibal is afraid of mice. One thing remains perfectly clear. It's the buzz, buzz, buzz in the drum of the ear. See, 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 sound, sound. Buzz, 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 buzz in the eardrum. See, 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 sound, sound. Buzz, 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 buzz in the eardrum.